Now, those were two big battles, but after Charleston, there were lots of smaller ones in South Carolina and in the borderlands, because we didn't really have a nice welcome center between North and South Carolina at that time. Places like Cedar Springs, Hanging Rock, Thickety Fort may seem minor to folks who are not from that area, but all of these are leading up to Kings Mountain. Because of what Cornwallis and Tarleton referred to as minor commotions, Cornwallis instructed Major James Ferguson to raise a loyalist militia, and he did, 1,000 men, to put down these commotions. Ferguson issued 2 proclamations, one to the men of Western North Carolina and what you would call, at that time, Western North Carolina included Eastern Tennessee, the over-the-mountain area. Very insulting about their masculinity, what they were going to all be put to the sword, their homes burned, what have you. And basically, if you're a real man, you'll put down your arms and join the king. Well, the response of these frontiersmen to these threats was to meet in the banks of the Watauga. 1,000 of these over-mountain men crossed over the mountains into western North Carolina. They soon met up with militia from the 2 Carolinas, Georgia, and Virginia. And at Kings Mountain, it is in South Carolina, they surrounded Ferguson and his men atop this particular piece of terrain. It's about the size of a present-day football field. Now, Ferguson was so arrogant, he did not believe that the rabble would attack him in his position. He had no intelligence. That's one thing that had happened because of these string of American commotions, successful commotions after Camden and Fishing Creek, is that Cornwallis's intelligence network was beginning to dry up. He's on Kings Mountain, does not sit in a defensive position, and the Americans on command, after 2 days of heavy rain, charge up the hill and take Ferguson and his entire command. 1,000 men are put out of action, either killed, wounded, or prisoners of war. Sir Henry Clinton's remarks in his memoirs about Kings Mountain said, "This unhappily proved the first link in a chain of evils that followed each other in regular succession until they at last ended in the loss of America." General Washington said, "Kings Mountain is the proof of the spirit and resources of the country." The significance of this is Cornwallis has to withdraw from Charlotte, North Carolina, back into South Carolina to regroup, and his planned invasion of North Carolina and Virginia is put off for a year because of Kings Mountain. When he takes to the field again, he's going to more than meet his match in terms of military strategy and tactics in the person of Nathaniel Green. Green comes south. In Hillsborough, there is a remnant of what had escaped from the Battle of Camden. He brings with him Daniel Morgan, and they begin to rally the local militia in and around the Charlotte area. And because the British had just left Charlotte, there's nothing there to feed his army. So Green decides he's going to do something a little bit daring. First of all, he moves the main portion of his army and his headquarters to Cheraw, South Carolina, just across the line, where he can get food and fodder, and also threaten Camden, which is the most important British outpost in the backcountry. And then he sends Morgan and a portion of his army westward around the flank of Cornwallis's army, probably heading towards 96. At any rate, as you know, Cornwallis decided to divide his forces to meet this American threat. And at Cowpens in Spartan District, South Carolina, Bannister Tarleton, leading that particular wing of Cornwallis's army, and Daniel Morgan's men clash.